Welcome, you guys. Thank you for showing up today. Appreciate it. Glad we got everything. Got a few difficulties getting started. Looks like we're good now. So, Ricky, since you got chopped up like a steak last time with your interview, why don't we start with you and give everybody your backstory? How did you get involved with music? How did you? I mean, I know you can gloss over it a little bit because I know we got some of it last time, but if it's I don't think we got that far in your history. So
All right, so Ricky, formerly of the Huck-A-Bucks, and I got started in bands. I started playing in bands. My first band was Potential Band, and we hailed from out of Bladensburg High School. So I was going Potential Band for a minute, and then I ended up going to a band called Clicks, which was an all-girl group, except we had a male drummer and a male congo player. And the drummer at the time was a dude named Leslie. He ended up playing for Rare Essence for a while, and I was the congo player. So we were the two males. We also had, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but we also had a dude called Opio. He was actually helping the girls with the keyboard part. So he's the keyboard player for Pure Elegance right now, I
okay,
believe. So he was in the camp as well. That band was managed by Mrs. Mack, who was the Rare Essence manager, Funk's mother. So we used
yep,
to actually rehearse in Funk's basement or Funk's mother's basement, and on all the old RE equipment. Like you go down in her basement, you had RE on all of like the bags, all of the keyboard cases and everything.
mhm,
It tripped me out. I'm like, man, we ain't down here where else we can practice. So we practiced in her home. Then I ended up going to a band called New Experience, and I played the cowbell, and I was like the hype man. I was like the number 4 man on the front line. So I played the cowbell for them for a brief stint, and then I ended up leaving them, and I ended up playing for. I got a call to go play for the Hucklebucks, and of course that changed my life a little bit. But me and Chiefy, the drummer, and also Carlos, the keyboard player. I picked up. I was there ride to practice for New Experience, so that's why they called me. They was like, "Wait, we got to go to this rehearsal at Charlie's or whatever. He auditioning." So I was the ride. So we all went up there together, and we all got the position. A guy named Chu, who was Wayne Chu, who was the drummer for Total Groove. He ended up giving us that information, and he gave us the information. We went up there, and then he actually started playing for the Hucklebucks for a short period of time as well, dude named
mhm.
Wayne Chu. And then so of course that's where once me, Carlos, and Cheapy got the parts, we ended up bringing Ty, who was the lead rapper for Potential, and we ended up bringing in Saquon, who was the Congo player for New Experience, and I ended up bringing in a singer named Lamont. He played with me in another band. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I used to play congos for a whole other band, and we never did any shows though. So that kind of just obscured. Boy,
So
but
real
I
quick, can you recap what instruments you played and which bands again? Because you done went through a whole bunch of.
right, okay. So my
Just
first
real
little
quick,
bit,
just I played this for this band, this for this band, this for this band.
I played keyboards for Potential Band.
Right.
I played congos for Clicks, and then I ended up playing cowbell, like being like the hype man for New Experience. That's how
Okay.
that goes.
How did you learn how to play keyboards and play congos and cowbell and hype man? Like how like most people just play one instrument. Like how'd you get to that point?
All right, good question, good question. So I was saying last time that I have a lot of musicians in my family. My uncle played guitar for Herbie Hancock. All of my aunts and all of my uncles, yeah, they all play keyboard. So we had a keyboard. I used to live at my grandma's house on 56 and Blaine, And every time one of them come over, they're playing the keyboard, they playing the piano, and they sitting there teaching me how to do this and help play with them and all that type of stuff. So it kind of taught me how to play by ear and play by watching other people, what they're doing. So I never learned how to read music or nothing like that, but I can play real good by ear. So when I went to the Potential band, like I said before, I went there to be a singer. I auditioned to be a singer, but I couldn't sing, and they didn't have a real front line. So I ended up being the lead rapper. And then as a lead rapper, I was showing the keyboard player how to do all the different parts. Like, now you should play it like this, and you don't hear this in that song, and blah blah blah. The melody go like this. So I had a show that I failed at as being lead rapper, and they asked me to go ahead and be the keyboard player. They go ahead and be the keyboard player.
He got demoted, Woo. That's what happened. Basically, he got demoted from.
But hey, it takes a good human being to be able to admit all that though and keep it flowing.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So I ended up being the keyboard player for them for the rest of the time I was with them, and then we were practicing in what's the dude's studio? These are off of Addison Road. We practice in the studio. Everybody used to practice in the studio. I forgot the dude's name, man. It was somebody, not Buck Studio. It might have been. Yeah. So we practiced in the studio off of Addison Road, and I used to watch Al Congo player play. And so after every as soon as the rehearsal was over, everybody go start getting on drums. Everybody start getting on congos and everything. And I was really amazed at the congos. I'm gonna tell you why. Check this out. It's a little story right quick. We ain't gonna be all night. Look, so I used to go to Blanesburg High School, right? I go to a talent show, like an after hours talent show, like it started at 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night or something like that, right? Chris from Groovers, or Ra from Groovers, Kirk from Groovers, and a couple other guys that went to my band, went to my school, had a band for the talent show. Chris was playing congos, right? Chris was playing congos for the group. Slim, he went into like a solo, a congo solo where everything stopped. And I remember as a kid, I remember his hands going like this. And everybody stood up and was going crazy, right? I was like, I want to know how to do that. I want to know how to do that right there. You know what I'm saying? But he kind of the one that made me want to be a Congo player. That's like a weird story, but yeah, Chris from Groovers made me want to be a Congo.
Rapper can really play Congos. Yeah, he's not just like like somebody that jumps on. Like he can really play. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right. So
okay. Go ahead. No, I was just gonna fast forward back to Huck-A-Bucks. So Woo can get in with his story, but we got we got our favorite troll Ed Flavor Snipes on here saying NEG went to school in PT. Shut the hell up, man. Anyway, all right. So you auditioned for the Hucklebucks, and then what happened after that?
All right, so I auditioned for the Hucklebucks. I went. Like I said, I said this before on your show, but for the people that don't watch the last show, they can watch this one. What happened is we went in. Cheapy and they told Cheapy like play the 1-on-1 or whatever beat. Cheapy played that for a minute. He locked it in. Charlie liked it, and then he went to Carlos. We all standing in the same room. So he go over to Carlos. He tell Rob, who's the keyboard player at Charlie's folks or whatever. He told him to teach Carlos this bass line. And it was like a little funky bass line, but it was kind of weird. But Carlos nailed it. He so they was playing together, you know what I'm saying? He was playing the bass line, TV was drumming, they was playing together. So then Charlie looked at me, he was like, so what do you do? And so, at the time, like, you know what I'm saying? I knew Carlos was trying to be the keyboard player, so I ain't gonna be like, I play keyboards or anything like that. I said, I play cowbell. He said, well, let me see you play cowbell. So he was playing the Peter with the yeah. So I started playing the cowbell, and Carlos had taught me this one beat I played for every song, and the rhythm of it was get busy, busy, get busy, get busy, busy. He said, yo, you play that, you good for everything. So I'm playing that. So Charlie was like, while I'm playing, Charlie screaming at me. He was like, so can you dance? I'm like, yeah. I started doing the running man. While I was playing the cowbell. Right? So he was like, all right, I
You
got it.
trying to make it when you ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So I ended up making all of us ended up making it and then bringing everybody else into it. But it was a wonderful experience. I remember you asked Chiefy, and because I want to kind of fast forward to the whole thing. You asked Chiefy, what did it feel like the first time he heard his song on the radio?
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you something. No lie, man. I was riding with my cousin, and I was trying to tell him that, like, yeah, I'm in this band, man, and we kind of doing some things. And he was like brushing me off, big cousin brushing me off, like, whatever, man, whatever. And no lie, man. While we're riding, we listening to 1580, and our song come on the radio. It's time, come on the radio. Slim, I go crazy. He go crazy. We pull off at the gas station. We get out, pumping the joint, just dancing around or whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna do it on the radio. Like, I was so psyched, man. But so I want to say this too, that what's his name? DJ Cool was the first person to play a Huck-A-Bucks song. And he brought us up to the radio station. He brought us to 1580 at that time and explained to us that, like, when he played it, the phones lit up. Everybody was calling in trying to figure out who it was and all that type of stuff. And that we ended up having, like, it ended up being number one on 1580 for a minute. But then we ended up having real good success with all of them, 93 and 95. But they like had number one joints. We was coming in to do interviews, and they'd do this countdown. We'd be doing the interview, doing the countdown, and they'd be like, "Guess what the number one song is?" And we'd be like, "Nah." And they'd be like, they played like The Bud or something. Like what? So we in the studio. We was in the studio twice when they played our song as a number one song and on that radio station or whatever. So I want to say all of that. I think Chibi was saying it, and I want to kind of piggyback off of what he was saying. But it's a beautiful thing though. That's what I'm saying. It's an out of body experience thing when you hear yourself playing. But like Chibi said, it started playing too much. You be like, oh man, like you said, every party you go to, every time you go to the club, they play. Everybody looking at you like, what you gonna do? You gonna dance up? You gonna dance for us? So yeah, beautiful thing though. Beautiful. I would love to have that success now with the projects that I'm involved with now.
Indeed. What do you real quick before I forget, Rob, you were talking about Rob. Rob's on here. And I think when you were talking about trying to remember the name of the rehearsal space, he said Mark. Does that sound right? Mark
Studio. Yeah. Mark Studio. Yeah. A lot of bands play. That guy you practicing there.
Yeah. So what do you attribute that success to?
Like you were saying last time in the other interview, we had a lot of rehearsals, like hours of rehearsals, and you might not believe it. It may sound fairy tale when I say we literally used to practice every day because we was kids and kind of this was our life. This is what we did, like for recreation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So every day we were in Charlie's studio rehearsing and rehearsing. We was getting down dance steps. We was getting down like how to punch with the music the best way and all of that. So I definitely attribute it to practicing a lot, practicing till you know it secondhand, till you know it like without thinking about it. You know how to do whatever or how to say whatever. You know what I'm saying? I definitely attribute it to that.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so then you why did I'm gonna try to segue into Woo here. Why did you go to Atlanta, Ricky, and how did you end up linking up with EXO?
All right, okay, great story. So I left the Huck-A-Bucks and I kind of gave up on Gogo. I was thinking that Gogo wasn't the forum. I was thinking that's not gonna get me out of here, you know what I'm saying, or out of DC or whatever. So I started doing rap. I started rapping real hard, and my man Ray from PA Palace, he put up money for me to go in the studio. We ended up getting with 88 from Northeast Groovers. I bought like 3 beats from him. We got Shorty from Rare Essence. We went and listened to some of his music. So we was going around buying music, and I ended up being like a rapper or whatever. I ended up having a little project and everything. I actually have a song, it never came out, but I have a song with Donnell Floyd and Bruce Bailey. Bruce Bailey singing the hook, Donnell Floyd rapping the second verse, and I got the first and the third verse or whatever, right? I'm gonna do. I don't know if anybody ever did this on your show. I had this line that said, I got tired of doing go-go. So now my focus is hip hop. And now all you niggas know, so don't ask me no more, Joe. Another reason I had to stop is because I wasn't seeing no dough. I left behind the rise and breed because of my new seeds and can't believe that I got three that look just like me. And now you see I had to leave one industry to clear my mind and take my time without nobody rushing me. And plus it'd be hard to concentrate. Women to get you late. If I had a dime every time that a lie was ate, it's my mistake. I forced you to hate. I thought my line was great, and I'm awake, meditating without no time to waste. I wanted nothing but smooth sailing. Somebody told me in my melon that whoever made that line up was welling, and the change is going to come. And in my head, I'm hearing the change is going to come. And Bruce come in and going, changes. That's what's
You
gonna
know,
be.
concert.
Yeah. Okay, so I had to give y'all that. I ain't seen nobody do their skills on here. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. So you left the Huck-A-Bucks because you didn't feel like like you were gonna. It was gonna get you out of here. And that's why you left. So then, why make the decision to go into your hip hop career with all go-go people? Like everybody you just named comes from go-go.
What? Because those were my connections. Those were the folks that I knew. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's those are the only folks that I knew that were doing it. People wasn't rapping. Back when I was doing it, rap wasn't the thing. It was you know, I mean, you had Singing and Gogo Nate and you know people, but that wasn't our form. Our form was go-go. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like why I switched over to that. But so I did all of that. I started a record label. I ended up starting a record label, and we ended up opening up a studio called Studio Blue. We took over the old Scraper shop. It was like off Addison Road and not Addison Road, but Division Avenue and everybody know the old Scraper shop, but I forgot the road is. So we ended up opening up a studio over there, and Malachi, you brung your first band through there. You brung Mumbo Sauce through there to record.
Yeah.
So we ended up having a studio over there and a record label and everything. 88 from Northeast Groovers was a part of it. Of course, it was me and Chiefy that did this. And so that was kind of having some success, and a lot of good people coming through. Somebody came through and kind of offered me a job in Atlanta to do engineering and all that at one of the top studios down here. Right. So I asked my wife, I said, look, you know what I'm saying, you trying to go down to Atlanta? She said, let's do it. Like I'm your ride or die. So I came to Atlanta, and I came to Atlanta to sell beats and to be a engineer. I ain't even come to Atlanta to do like go-go and all of that type of stuff, whatever. But I came to Atlanta, and I was here. I went to a show. I went to this show with this group called the Thundercats, and they were under Dallas Austin. So I walk into this venue, Dallas Austin in there, there's a couple of other big names in there, and we watching his band, and I am not impressed. I'm like, yo, if these and the people were reacting to it, I was like, wow, like I said, if I had a band down here, we would kill this joint. So I was trying to get Chiefy to come down the whole after that. I was like, Chiefy, you gotta come down here. We can make some moves down here. So I ended up finding out that I can Mason, he played the drums for OP Tribe and Belladonna and a couple other groups. I found out that he was here, so I called him, and he said, "Man, it's funny you called me because I got a band down here, and I'm going to rehearsals like next week or tomorrow or something." And I was like, "What?" So I'm thinking he's talking about an R&B band or like a rap group or something. So I said, "Well, let me know if there's some room for me. You know what I'm saying? I'll come back and be an artist and all that type of stuff." He was like, "For sure," because it was a go-go band. I didn't know. He was like, "For sure, yeah, I'm gonna holler at the folks." I said, "So what is it? An R&B band or whatever?" He said, "It's a go-go band." I said, "A go-go band?" He said, yeah, this guy, you know, got me into the band, whatever, who I found out later it was Woo. Whatever. He said, yeah, dude's band or whatever. Come to rehearsal and, you know what I'm saying, and meet everybody, and you in there, period. You know, you in there. So I go to rehearsal, my first rehearsal. I go to this rehearsal for EXO band, and I had been watching uh, um, TRL and all the little video. So I know who some of these players are. So I'm getting to this point. I walk into rehearsal and Sleepy Brown is in rehearsal with EXO band. I'm like, Sleepy Brown? So I'm tripping, like, I'm trying to be cool. Like, oh, why is Sleepy Brown rehearsing with EXO band? Yeah, Sleepy Brown from Purple Ribbon All Stars. Outkast, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Yeah. He doing a lot of singing for like Purple Ribbon All Stars and all that. So I'm thinking that Sleepy Brown is there. I know who he is. And we ended up doing a show. I ended up auditioning for the band. He was like, yeah, come on. And we ended up doing a show with Sleepy Brown. Like my first show ever was with Sleepy Brown. So then check this out. Hold on. So at that show, all of these people are getting on stage. You know, everybody kind of be feeling it. You know, Gogo was rapping, joint packed out. Everybody feeling it. So the lead rapper at the time. No, this is a different show. But look, we was playing the show.
You're right. Coop was missing that show, and we had to use the number 2 to be the lead rapper. He held it down.
Right. And that's the joint with Lord G, right?
That's the one with what now?
With Lord G, when Lord G popped up on the stage.
Lord G did pop on. Yeah, he did. Him and Philippia came through.
Right. So look, so check this out. I'm at the show.
Improv
right?
too.
And this dude jump on stage. I don't know who he is. So the lead rapper at the time, he leaned up to him. He said, "Say I want to get freaky." So I'm thinking, okay. So the dude say, "Because tonight, baby, I want to get freaky with you." It was the dude that really sing the dude from Silk. Like just singing the joint like so man, I was like, what in the world is going on, man? So I was there, I was totally big. But the way that the Atlanta greats and all of that, the way that they really suck up go-go and like all the love that they have for it, it's amazing because you wouldn't think that it touched everybody like that. They, so that's one of my stories. That's how I got with EXO, man.
Well, it's an element. It's an element in go-go I think we kind of not necessarily forget about, but we kind of put on the back. And that's the soul element. And then when you think of Atlanta is a hub for soul music. So when you're playing go-go with so much soul like that, they can't deny it because it's relative to what they're already doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to get into Woo's story, but I just want to interject for 1 second because it's funny that you had that experience, Ricky, about seeing this other band and not being impressed because that was the same thing that happened to me out here in LA before I came back and started Mambo Sauce. Was I was seeing it wasn't just one band, I was multiple bands, and there was a couple really good ones. One that I sort of modeled my Mambo Sauce after, but the lion's share of the bands out here, I was like, these guys can't even hold a candle to a go-go band. If I, what is really going on? So anyway, so just thought that was interesting. So all right, so Woo, so tell us your story. How'd you get started playing music, and how'd you make it to Atlanta, and why'd you start a go-go band there?
Well, the thing about it is, it's a few things. First, being from the city, I started with the cans and buckets, like most people in the city, trying to do a junkyard band, and having fun doing that. So throughout my history and moving through these different neighborhoods, we moved there because we lived in 3 different neighborhoods. We lived in Southwest, we lived in Southeast, and then my parents moved us to the Suitland side. And I spent 5.5 years there before coming here for college. That's what brought me to Atlanta. I was going to take electronics, and I had it all mapped out. But before I came, I was rehearsing at Charlie's studio with a band called Final Touch. Okay. This guy named Maurice Brown started. And we had a short run. We played at 14th and Penn. I forgot the guy's name who was doing all of the outdoor events at the time. He was doing outdoor events all through the summer, and we got on his stage right at 14th and Penn. We rocked out, but I made my mind up before I got in that band and put everything in motion that I'm coming to Atlanta to get my degree and come back. So that's what I did. And when I came down here, I really was coming to get away, because I ended up graduating from Forestville High School, and they, you know, when you go to PG County, they call that 13th grade. You know what I mean? So I really came down here to get away, thinking I'm gonna be focused. I ain't gonna run the streets. You know, it ain't gonna be as fun as home. I ain't gonna get caught up like I was doing. I'm gonna be focused. I got down here, man. There was so many people down here from up the way. It's ridiculous. I'm talking about at DeVry. I'm talking about at Spelman. I'm talking about Morehouse, Clark, Atlanta, and Morris Brown. We was down here deep. And because of that, these students was often starting go-go bands for the school season. They was doing that. Every school season, they'll start a go-go band. So XO Band was not the first go-go band in Atlanta at all, by far. Okay. The first go-go band was Metro Boys, which was a group of guys from DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And the drummer they had was a drummer from Shady Groove. Okay. What year was that? I think his name was John or something like that. No, but what year was that? Do you know when they started? Or I came down in 1990. Metro Boys probably was already doing their thing in like 86, 87. Okay. So yeah, I came in 90. Okay. So by 92 rolled around, I got in a band called Black Male Band, who was managed by my man Jeff Holmes, the one who got me into the whole AV world, audio visual industry. Okay. Jeff had a band called Black Male Band, and somebody told me about it because the network is serious now. Stuff get back to you know. Right. So they said, you might want to go try out. I ended up talking for that band, and I wasn't even talking at all. But I did it just because it was something to do. You know what I mean? Right. You know, that band we had a couple shows or whatever that dispersed. And that band, Jeff started that band with a guy named Ron, who was one of the co-founders of Funk Jazz Cafe. And Funk Jazz Cafe is what One Music Fest is now. Yep. That's what Funk Jazz Cafe was back then. Gotcha. And we actually got an opportunity as XO Band to play on that stage for like in front of like over 3,000 people. But anyway, but before that, after Black Male Band, another band came up called Capitol Groove. And Capitol Groove was some guys got together. One of the drummers was the mayor at the time. His son was the drummer. Then they had my man Tom from Virginia, who was their congo player, which was our congo player in Black Male Band. And then over time they dispersed. Then moving right along came XO Band. And why do you think those bands just like broke up? Was it because people went back home, or? Yeah, that and they really just was thinking, let's do it for the school season and have fun while we're in school. And then when school is over, we go home, do our thing, come back and do it again. Gotcha. I saw that was a pattern. And what I recognized was that pattern could be broken because I started seeing that a lot of people were staying. That's one. And I started seeing that a lot of people liked it outside of this. So when XO Band came around, it was actually called Exodus at first. It wasn't my band. I went to try out like everybody else. It was just a band that started that I got word about. So I went and tried out with Congos and got the Congo position. And at the time, they was called Exodus. Okay. But it was already a gospel band called Exodus. Band, right? Yep. Gospel go-go band called Exodus. So as we played and we realized it was a band already called Exodus, a go-go band in DC, I suggested, well, let's just keep the X and the O and let it be our symbol for premium and premium music and extraordinary musicians. So that's what made me keep the X and O. So we just called ourselves XO from there. And a lot of people was thinking hugs and kisses, but now I'm thinking the Hennessy bar. Right. You know, top shelf, you know, premium. Yeah. So that's what my mind was, and that's what we rolled with, and everybody agreed with it. We rolled with that. And next thing you know, what year was that when you went to XO? XO started as Exodus in 95. By the middle of 96, we transitioned into XO. The XO, okay. Gotcha. Like that. And after that, the movement kind of fell in my lap without me realizing. Because I'm the type, once I get involved with something, I thrust forward. I don't play no games. You know what I mean? So naturally, everything fell right in place behind me. And I chopped through with a lot of good help, like my man Education. He's from up the way, he graduated from Morehouse. He's doing well with his life. And he still lives down here, he still supports. You know, and then I had help from some guys from Virginia. My homie Troy, over the years. This is all you know, you can't do nothing by yourself. You know?
Right.
So this is people chipping in because they like what I was doing. You feel me?
Right.
So we was going so hard and put these shows together so diligently and rocking these joints that we started getting the attention that Rick is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And this all through the 90s, from 95 on up to the 2000s.
So where would you guys?
I decided, hey, we can do this all the time. We don't need to stop and wait till school season come back. So I decided to move forward and do it all through the year, as long as we can do it, and put that in position.
Where would you guys play when you were building up this momentum? Like what venues?
We was playing in old warehouses where the pipe might bust and the water might be at your feet. Mm-hmm. You know, we used to sell our own liquor and everything, man. And the only light you will see in the spot is the light from the refrigerator, the cooler we bring in. We might get a small cooler in that joint, little refrigerator, fill it up with some beer, and it'd be pitch black in there, man. You open that refrigerator, sell $2-3, and the whole thing light up off that refrigerator. So we're playing in some janky places, man. I'm talking about places with the windows busted out and all that. That people was trying to transition into what they call them places, man. Studio. Yeah, people was trying to transition these old warehouses into studio places, studio apartments. So I guess in between, they was trying to figure out ways to keep revenue coming. So we're going to these businesses, these old buildings in play. Then we start getting footage and everything. I started meeting with club owners and showing them this footage of us rocking with the crowd. Mm-hmm. So then we start getting into the clubs and everything.
Well, let me jump in real quick. XO Band opened up the famous show when Backyard came to Freaknik, played at Freaknik. It's a famous like a real good tape that we used to always sell at PA Palace or whatever. But XO Band was the opening band on that show when Backyard came for Freaknik. Go ahead.
And that was our second show with Backyard. Our first show with Backyard was Freaknik '97. And the reason why that show even happened is because of a promoter that was from DC saw what we were doing. And in his mind, he's like, dang, if they can do this, I can bring a band from up the way down and do it. So that's how Backyard even got the door to come in to play down in Atlanta. Because we gave the confidence to the promoter that it could happen because we were pulling the crowd. And not only we pulling the crowd, we were pulling the crowd where people, they were from California. They were from Chicago, Detroit, all of that.
I was going to ask, was it mainly people from DC that were living in Atlanta, or was it a mix of everybody from everywhere? Like
it was mainly people from DC, but you got to remember they got relationships on the college campus.
Yeah,
people from DC, they meet other people. So hey, come to our show, see how we do it, and that's why they was coming. And then we had our ladies was fly. You know, the ladies from DC was fly down here, man. So a lot of the guys from Chicago, Detroit, they coming so they can see these ladies. Right. And you know how they talk, right? So that's what made our crowd become diverse over time. That right there, the whole experience. Right. You know, and over that time, I played with Benny. Benny is the reason why I got it. Benny D is the reason why I got into producing. Okay. Benny D, I played with Benny at Funk Jazz Cafe. They built Funk Jazz Cafe around him in the beginning. And a lot of people don't know he was down here doing soul music. Man. He was making an impact on the soul scene down here.
Okay. So, let me jump in and say this too. For y'all that don't know, that's Benny D, the $55 motel. Now, the audience might not know that, like who Benny is. Benny is a $55 motel.
Absolutely. He's one of the most talented guys you know. I'm talking about this guy is real talented. And he's the reason why I bought an MPC 3000. Because he was sitting there with a Tascam 8 and a roller keyboard. He did his whole record on that, and it sounded good. And I was blown away because he was doing a record for us. Not XO Band, but me and another guy that was getting into doing a record label and everything before all of this. And I'm looking like, I don't even want to do this. I want to produce and do this. So he told me about the MPC 3000, and that was my first major drum machine I bought to start producing. You know, so Benny was a big influence in my production side of things. But from the band side of things, XO Band was just something I liked doing, and I felt like our culture could really make a stamp down in Atlanta, because Atlanta got open arms for live music anyway. And it's true.
What? I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
Atlanta got open arms for live music anyway. I didn't know that Atlanta live music scene was as vicious as it was.
Right.
So with them being already into live music, accepting us really wasn't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So is XO Band still together or no?
Yes, and matter of fact, we was in negotiations with a couple of clubs to get a series of shows going, and then COVID-19 kicked in. Our last show was at 10 ATL, and we got video footage of all that good stuff. Man. That joint was. We played with Offspring up there, which is another go-go band down here.
Yep.
We played with them up there one time, and then the second time we played up there, which was our last time. So it's a lot going on down here, more than what people realize, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So what has been the history of bands from DC coming to Atlanta? I know Backyard's been there a few times. Who else has been down there, and what's the reception been?
Before this whole story I'm telling you, you have been in the Masters was down here in the 80s, the early 80s. Of course, when EU had the butt, EU came down here when they had the butt going and performed. Chuck been down here several times for the Jazz Fest. I called him at one of them. Chuck used to rock with Joe. I played with Chuck on the Monique show.
Okay.
And that was a great experience for me, because this is a guy I grew up listening to. I must have played that Crystal Skate, Live at Crystal Skate album like 1 trillion times. You know what I mean? Man, I wasn't there.
Right.
You know, so to be on the stage on a big platform like that, the BET platform with Monique, on the Monique show, playing for Chuck and Betty Wright, and what's the dude, Freddie Jackson and Jody Wiley. I played for all 4 of them on that show right there for the same show. And to do that, it was a big moment for me. But I'm too cool to really express it. Shouldn't have been, but that's just me. I'm laid back, right?
From DC, that's how it is, man. That's how we are.
Yeah, Malachi, like when I came down, I told you how, we used to play with shows with Onyx and Lil Kim and like just a bunch of people, Lords of the Underground, all of that. And we was too cool to like take pictures with them and all of that. So now all I got is like my memories when I be telling my kids, you hear that? Yeah, we played on shows with these dudes or whatever. It was opening up for us and all this type of stuff, right? So when I came down here to Atlanta, I be taking pictures with everybody. We like, man, I don't care. I was like, man, take these pictures, because for years you gonna be wanting to tell these stories, man. I'm
telling you, man, I do not like approaching people, and Rick got me out of that. He helped get me out of that, man, because I do not like approaching people. It took everything in me to approach a Pop, man, and say, hey, man, you take this picture? Man, he grabbed me. I'm like, yeah, young man, come on over here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Erykah Badu did the same thing. I performed with her on the same stage as her. I didn't perform with her, but we performed on the same stage. And I'm backstage. I'm looking at her. I'm acting all shy and cool at the same time, trying to act like, Man, finally, I said, man. And my man Vinny, we played that Vinny at that show. We played with Vinny at that show. And Vinny said, go ahead and take that picture, man. Action. I was like, all right. And Erykah did the same thing, man. She grabbed me. I said, yeah, come on, hug me up. She hugged me tighter than I hugged her.
Wow. That's what's up.
So I took that picture, man, but I'm glad Rick kind of kept that in my head and let all that go, man. I don't like approaching people, but I do now.
Yeah, no, I wish I should have had Rick around me too, because I'm the same way. I ran, entertainment at Live Casino at Arundel Mills for 3.5 years, and plus I worked at PGC. I worked at the radio station in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I met every celebrity you could think of, and I maybe have like 4 or 5 pictures, because I'm the same way. I don't like approaching people and asking for pictures.
I had to learn.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I just wanted to know, was there ever any, actually in both bands, in Huck-A-Bucks or XO, was there ever an agenda, or like, was it always, like for the Huck-A-Bucks, was it, we want to be Rare Essence? And for XO, was it, we want to be the Rare Essence of or Trouble Funk or whatever or Chuck Brown of Atlanta? Or was it ever, we want to take this thing international? Like, was that ever a thought process?
Well, let
Yeah.
me jump in and say the Hucklebuck part of it. I'll let Wu answer the other part. But for the Hucklebucks, yeah, like Chibi was saying in the beginning, we were just excited to play for Charlie and be a part of that camp with Pleasure and High Cold Sweat. You know what I'm saying? So we was excited to do that. But as it went on, like we had Chris Lighty from Violator Records or whatever. He came down and had a meeting with Charlie to try to see what was up with the Hucklebucks or whatever. And after that meeting, Charlie had all of us sign these contracts, like a couple page contracts, man, because of course Charlie had lost Pleasure the same way. Herbie Lovebug came down and took some of the girls from Pleasure and took them back up top. So when the radio stations started coming down, I mean not the radio station, but the record labels started coming to DC and was asking about the Hucklebucks and all that type of stuff. Of course, we were thinking, oh, this is it. You know what I'm saying? We about to blow. They got people. Charlie asking us to sign contracts now. Yeah, we about to blow. So it ended up being, yeah, we're going to jump up out here. And also, it was one big show, like maybe at the RFK Stadium or something like that, where Immature was coming to play at they wanted the Hucklebucks to be the band for Immature when they came in town or whatever. So it was getting big. It was getting real big. As a matter of fact, the last thing I'm gonna say is we the Hucklebucks was supposed to go to Russia. We were supposed to play in Kazakhstan. So they had this whole show set up for the Hucklebucks in Russia. We went Icy Ice was a part of it, right? So he went out and bought all of us went down as a group, bought the things so you can get out of town. Passports. He got all of us passports. He paid for them and everything. Got all of us passports, and we ended up shooting a video down like the waterfront, like off Georgetown, like when you can kind of go into down on the waterfront. We ended up shooting a video on some dude's yacht. Like it was a dude that had a yacht. Everybody asked him, we shoot it. So we tried to do it on this yacht and sent that to Russia for the confirmation that we was official or whatever. And the only reason we didn't go is because they didn't send the upfront money for. They wanted us to come and show up and then pay us. And they weren't trying to come up. I guess enough money for us to leave, so that's why we didn't. So yeah, I thought we was going to be up out of here, like you know what I'm saying. So when it didn't, when stuff didn't happen, it wasn't going like I thought it should go. That's when I started trying to make an exit move. I felt like I had talent enough to do something. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of stepped away and tried to do my own thing. So yeah, I did think that it was going to go big.
But it wasn't like that was part of the strategy that was being employed, right? It was just like, okay, things just sort of materialized on their own, and then it felt like something was going to happen. Obviously, it didn't, but it wasn't like y'all had meetings and said, okay, how are we going to get to Chicago? How are we going to get to New York?
Okay, so check this out. So the Hucklebucks first album came out, Harmonic Breakdown, and we saw a little check from that, right? We saw the royalty check come in, right? So we ended up the next album ended up being even bigger, which is Hucklebucks Live. That's what the Budweiser song on it and Can I Get Down, the Sexy Girl remix and all of that. So that ended up being real big, right? So when the check came in for that, we was like, oh my goodness, right? But we all made a conscious decision. And this might be some insider stuff right here or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But we made we took a vote. Charlie said, look, well, I can break this money down with y'all. I can break this money down with y'all, whatever. Or we can invest it all back into putting an album that California would love. Like, so you have to redo a lot of the songs so the California people can understand it and put it in different formats. So yeah, Charlie was trying to get us out of it. So we took, instead of getting our royalty checks, we ended up putting the money back into the Hucklebucks to end up going to put into a project that went to California. And I still hear people from this day say, yeah, you played, I heard y'all in California, or I heard y'all in Chicago and all that type of stuff. So we did put some effort into trying to, make it blow outside of where we were or the plays that we were getting. Because we were number one and of course, in DC and stuff like that, but we were going to Baltimore. We were number one. We were, they were playing us in Atlanta, in South Carolina. My family was calling me from South Carolina, North Carolina, like, I hear y'all song down here and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, it ended up being that this is not just supposed to be like a DC thing or whatever. We have visions of taking it like across the world. That's my part.
Gotcha. Real quick before we go to you, Woo, Ed Snipes wants to know how much was the check? How much was the royalty check?
It was under $1 million. Let them know that. It was under $1 million.
It was less than
$1 million. 950,000.
999. So what about you with EXO? Was there ever any thought about trying to get it outside of the area, or was it just?
Yes, all the time. Mainly national first. I figure national first. Then if we have to get over there, fine. So I always, along with the other musicians in the band, man, try to come up with different ways on delivering the sound. Like like a chemist would when he's trying to find a formula or something. Just put all this stuff together, man. And we've always been pretty good to come up with things. The thing that messed us up the most is people quitting at the last minute. Like, I'm not a drummer, and I had a drummer quit at the last minute before a show and had to play some drums that I didn't know how to play because I got an obligation to make. You know what I mean? But after that, I got those drums and I practiced them joints almost every day and say that would never happen again. So if it happens again, I get on drums and hold the whole go-go show down. It's fine.
And Malachi, right quick, when I came to the band, Woo was the drummer. He wasn't a Chicago player. He was the drummer when I met him. That's crazy. Go ahead, Woo.
And I still was in, and I'm still in learning mode though too. I listen to Buggy. I listen to some old Foots. I listen to Jam and Jeff. I listen to those guys. I've learned a lot from those guys, and I mainly listen to Buggy, man, because that's where the youngins, that's where they are. That's where people's ears are. So when I was getting on them drums, I mainly studied Buggy and what he was doing, because I know that's where it was. And, you know what I mean? Even right now, Buggy's like, he's pretty much the format now.
You said the blueprint.
Yeah, the blue. There you go. He's pretty much the blueprint now. So my mind is, why not listen to the blueprint? You feel me?
For sure.
So because of that, now I can play drums. But it was embarrassing and a hard moment to take at the time. But I had to do it because we had obligations, right? But those type of things kind of slow us up because people move too fast in their mind.
Yep.
They don't understand the business aspect of putting it in order and letting it develop as you take these proper steps to get in that direction, right?
Yep.
So I had a lot of moments. It's a show we had with Backyard one time. We slumped so bad, man, and I was on drums. We slumped so bad. I think Coop might have called the promoter and said, "Hey, man, let me holler at this guy, man. Let him know, man, he got to represent or something." But I never got the call from him. But the promoter at the time, my man Champ, he moved out Las Vegas now. He started his promotions out there now, and all the little venue things he was doing down here. Champ was another person who really got people down here. But to get back to your question, I always thought about taking it national and coming up with new ideas to make other people like it. So we would study down south stuff and the elements they were doing and try to implement it in our music. You feel me? And we were doing that early on because we was already here. And sure enough, people was taking to it. That's why we had people from California that didn't realize they was listening to go-go music or Chicago. We've gotten off stage and have people from other cities say, yeah, man, I like what y'all doing. What you call that? You tell them it's go-go. They're like, what? I didn't know go-go could sound like that. Consistently,
like, the butt and breaking, busting loose and all that type of stuff, because the same thing.
They're used to the butt and all that good stuff, which was a good song, and it gained national and international attention, but that's not all it is.
Right.
It's more to it than that. So yeah, to answer your question, nationally first, I've always been thinking about ways to deliver this sound and mesh up some things from other cultures to make other people like it on a massive level. That's why we came up with 2 shots. And what did I say? To see, kind of to test the waters to see how that goes. And people always cry about us playing other people's music, but they're not buying the original. You put out original, they're not taking to it like they should, or like I think they should, with them demanding so much original music. I would think they'd give it a shot, you know. But
Right.
the people got to play a part in that too, man, to support the original.
Right. Well, I mean, not speaking on those songs because I don't shoot me. I haven't listened to them yet, but I promise I will. But I think that part of the issue is not speaking on your songs, obviously, but is that I don't think that a lot of what's been, when people say original music, they want something that's comparable to original music in other genres in terms of production value, in terms of sonically, in terms of songwriting ability, you know what I mean? And Gogo doesn't deliver that on a very consistent basis. Not to say it never happens, but not on a regular basis. There's not a steady stream of well-written, well-produced, you know, well-engineered, well-mixed, well-mastered songs that come out on a consistent enough basis for people to really gravitate to them. And one of the things that I've discussed on this show a bit is the fact that if you listen to, you know, if you listen to the other music that was out when Bustin' Loose came out, that was on the radio. If you listen to the other music that was out when EU and the Butt was out, that was on the radio. Those songs don't sound like exactly like those songs, but they're comparable in terms of the sonics, in terms of the instrumentation, in terms of everything else that's going on within the music. And so, but recently, most people that are putting out original go-go songs, they still sound like they're from 1996 and in 2020. You know what I mean? So,
the instrumentation, the choice of instruments and everything.
Yeah, choice of their patches, and choice of their samples, the choice of their mix, the choice of everything. And so this brings me to a question that I really want to ask you guys, since you're both into production. Do you need a band to be go-go?
Well, if you listen to all, in my opinion, and experience, if you pay attention to the songs that the rappers had in the 80s, they were go-go. A lot of the hit records in the 80s were go-go records.
100%.
So with that being said, they didn't have a go-go band, they just used the sample. And they rap on top of it. So no, I think you don't have to have a go-go band to be go-go, because we're talking about a sound. It's a sound first, right? Even though you use the band to make that sound. But you know, hip-hop artists, what? They're sampling the R&B songs, right? They're sampling the rock songs, right? They're sampling whatever, but it's still hip hop because of how they formulated it, right? Right. So to me, you can still call it go-go if you got the main element of go-go in it, which is that beat, which is what Kid and Play did, which is what Flo did, which is what Salt and Pepper did, Herbie Love Bug, all of them. They sampled that go-go sound and put their concept on top of it. So not really. Now, do I prefer a band? Yeah, I do. I prefer a band.
Yeah.
Do I think they got enough sounds out there and patches out there that you can use, like in Reasons or Studio One or whatever your preference is? Do I think they got the right snare and the right kick drum to play their patches as a go-go band? Yeah, I do. It depends on how you mix it in the overall scheme of things, right?
Right. Well, now you got go-go loops too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You can hold it down doing that good stuff, right?
Yeah. And I agree. You know, one of the main things you think about, like, because when we hear go-go, we accept, we say, okay, that's go-go. So of course, like when you hear A. Marie's, one thing you say, that's a go-go track right there. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Or I can't think of no other one. But when you hear
Crazy in Love,
Jill
Scott, Nelly, Bustin',
that's right. So when you hear it, it ain't saying that it was produced by no band. And of course, Rich Harrison is no band. You know, just Rich Harrison that came up with the track or whatever. So no, I don't think that you need a whole band at all. But the element that we ride off of is kind of the cadence in the rototones, how we play the rototones, and also like the percussion, the congos and stuff like that. It has to be to the forefront of the music, and when we hear it, we know it. You know what I'm saying? But so to answer your question, no, I definitely don't think that you have to have a band to produce the go-go sound. I don't think that. But let me say this too, though. But while we were down here, we came into a situation where uh, when I played with EXO Band, we came into a situation where like one of the singers couldn't make it, or they dropped out or something like that, and I did feel funny performing with just one other person on the front line with me. I didn't feel like we was presenting go-go the right way to our audience at that time. Like I did feel some type of way. So it you know what I'm saying? So when you're presenting it, like to make sound, I don't think so. But when you're presenting it to people, I think we respect it more because that's what I'm saying. That's why like with Black Alley and Mumbo Sauce, you know what I'm saying? The fact that I didn't have the whole front line and all that type of stuff, people wanted to say it was kind of like alternative go-go, like something it was go-go. But the fact that I didn't have the whole 3-man front line, 4-man front line or whatever, it kind of put it in a whole nother bracket. I don't know. I don't know the reason why. I'm not saying it's right or wrong or nothing like that, but that's my take on it though.
No, it was 100 million% intentional on my part with marble sauce, and that was definitely on purpose. But yeah, the thing that I would say though, with your example, that wasn't planned for, that wasn't rehearsed for. So yeah, you didn't create the show to only work with two people. So the marble sauce, I created the show to work with two people. That was the whole objective, and that was actually there's a band that was out here. You remember the song back in the days when I was young. I'm not a kid. That guy and his wife had a band out here when I lived in LA the first time called Fourth Avenue Jones, and they were killing. They were like one of the only bands that I saw out here, except for Cy Smith's band. Cy Smith from back home too. That really could play and could get down. And basically, their band is the same exact lineup as Marble Sauce, except instead of having a conga player or percussionist, they had an electric violin player. So I just was like, well, they can do that shit. I'm just gonna take the electric violin player, I'll put a conga player in, and then we have a 7-piece go-go band. So yeah, so that's exactly what it was about. But my thing, the reason why I asked that question is because what you mentioned, Wu, was a problem for you in keeping the momentum going with EXO, is a problem for keeping the momentum going of every band that I've ever played in my entire life, which is a lot of them, which is keeping 10 to 11 band members on the same page. And that's extremely difficult, even under the best of circumstances. And usually Gogo is not operating under the best of circumstances. So my thing is if our objective is, and I understand that everybody's objective isn't the same, but if our objective is to try to export go-go to the rest of the world, like that's my objective. Like people can agree or disagree.
I'm along with that objective.
Yeah, I want a go-go artist to headline Coachella within the next 10 years. That's what I'm talking about. I don't care about none of this this sideshow stuff, like whatever. Like I want, because this is what I know that you guys know. If you put a go-go band in front of anybody in the world in a live setting, it does not matter who they are. It does not matter where they come from. They are going to react.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So the problem is we haven't figured out how to write a song. We haven't figured out how to record a song. We haven't figured out how to release and promote a song. We hadn't even figured that out 10 years ago, much less right now.
Right. Hey, let me say these two things, and I know we're gonna do the plugs at the end or whatever. But even with let me start here with the Huck-A-Bucks. When we recorded maybe the second album, maybe even both of the ones that I was on, maybe Chronic Breakdown and the other one, Charlie sent those off to New York to be mastered. Like he sent those to for real mastering, facilities or whatever, instead of having somebody like Rio. So, I mean, no shots to Rio, what I'm saying? Rio get his man or whatever. And I don't even know if Rio sent his stuff off or whatever. But I'm just saying, I know that Charlie said that we're going to send this to, this going to be done right. You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying there, but also even me and Wu song, the EXO band song, What Did I Say?
What did I say?
By this dude named Kenny Mix, who mixes Gucci Man and everybody, anybody in Atlanta, they sending their mixes to this dude named Kenny Mix or whatever. He mixes out of Patchwork Studios down here or whatever. And we did that. It cost a pretty penny for one song to be mixed by him, you know what I'm saying? But we did that.
He mastered it. You gotta remember, Rob mixed it. He mastered it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, my fault. Mastered.
Yeah, he mastered it.
Mastered for the Huck-A-Bucks. It was sent somewhere else. Yeah. And for us, yeah. Rob from the
mastered out and Rob mixed it. Yeah.
Right. You're right.
So we tried that angle because we understand that is a problem. But like I'm saying, all you can do is try and keep trying these different formulas until something sticks. And that's what we're trying to do. We're shooting a video right now for 2 shots. We'll be wrapping it up soon, you know, but it's just we throwing all these ideas off each other until something sticks.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to do it. Yeah, 100%. Just keep iterating until you get it right. That's not even just music. That's just business, period. Like any software that you look at now, that's the model. Put the shit out, put out what they call the MVP, the minimum viable product that you can put out for the cheapest amount. And then you keep iterating on it until it gets good enough that people start reacting to it. And then you just build up from there. Yeah. 100%.
And you'll never know if you're sitting there critiquing it for a million years. You got to, all right, let's let it go. Let the people judge.
Yep.
If it don't come back good, try it again.
Yep, do something different. Try it again. Yep, 100%. Yep, that's how you do it these days. And I like the fact that you guys are working on 2 songs, not saying, oh, we're going to take the next 2 years to make our album and maybe it'll come out and maybe it won't. That's not how music is released these days. Music is released in succession over and over, you know, every month, every week, whatever. One of my clients puts out a new video, like MTV level video, like every couple of weeks, you know what I mean? And with building his audience, you know what I mean? So I think you guys are on the right track. That's super dope to hear. Ricky, aren't Huck-A-Bucks? I saw you like some pictures or something. You guys in the studios? Are you guys doing something new or what's going on with that?
Well, let me tell you this. I'm working on a bunch. I mean, I'm literally, it's like 5 different projects that I'm involved in, put it like that. So I'm involved with some projects with Stomp Dog in the 18. I'm involved with, of course, the EXO band has more songs to come. We still recording songs. I went back home to get with Rob, and he produced him and Chiefy and Carlos said, look, we have these songs. So because they were the nucleus of it, I ended up bringing other people from the Huck-A-Bucks in. I brought the singer in, the lead rapper in. We had Little Mickey, not Little Mickey, but BJ.
Yeah, he was on Instagram. Yeah, that's my man.
Yeah. So we brought in BJ, you know, because we don't have Saquon no more. Wink said that he wanted to be a part of it for to show Saquon respect. He said Saquon was part of the CPU, the Congo Player University. He said, like, I would love to do that, Saquon. But I brought in most of the fellas from the Huck-A-Bucks to be on this project. Now, will this project come out as a Huck-A-Buck project? I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? We will have to talk to Charlie to figure that out. But we are recording. We have some nice songs that we recorded, and it's most of the guys from the Huck-A-Bucks on there. So I can't say this is a Huck-A-Buck project, but it's definitely a project coming out with a lot of the guys from the Huck-A-Bucks on. Because and let me just say this. Let me toot their horn, man. I mean, not only Wu is multifaceted, like he does a lot, man. He can do a lot of stuff, whatever. So shouts out to Wu, man. Your roses while you're alive, man. You do some really, really good stuff, man. But Chiefy and Carlos, man, they are so talented. They're really Carlos plays for a Lit band right now. He plays for a band called Lit, back home, living in trouble or whatever. And so he still got the keyboard chops. And you know, Rob is mixing like for Rare Essence, like he's mixing their projects for Rare Essence and Backyard, and you know he got his hands on that. So Rob's really talented as well. Rob, producer Rob, and then and Chiefy, I'm sorry. I wish I was on I wish I was here to say this when he was on the line. Chiefy do everything. I'm talking about from mastering to embedding his own codes in his stuff to the artwork. He played the drums, the bass, the guitar, all of that on his project, man. So the fact that I'm bringing that up is that we have so much talent. We have so much talent. It's only right that we put these projects together, like combined heads and talents and all of that type of stuff. And the project that I'm doing with Skunk Dog, Woo's playing congos on that. You know what I'm saying? So we putting stuff together, like you said, throwing it until stuff stick. But I got a lot of projects coming out, man. A lot of them.
Cool. Well, it would be better if you had a better drummer. So sorry, yeah. That was him texting me earlier. I was like, "Don't text me back. You're making my thing beep when I'm on the show."
Yeah.
So what about XO? So the songs that you sent me, are those actual XO releases?
Yes, they are the original, and we're about to do some more.
Okay.
And we're about to try to be more consistent with it. Getting back to what you're saying about last year, I was looking at. I've seen Junkyard perform in Maine at a folk fest, right?
Yep, I just reposted that video on
right.
my
you see these videos, right, of these bands playing in all these different cities and people kirking out, right?
Yep.
That's proof to you that it can work. You feel what I'm saying? We have our example when we played on Funk Jazz Cafe. It was over 3,000 people at that joint, mouth wide open, hands in the air. Yep. I got a picture, man, to blow your mind, because you see all these people, it's like an ocean of people with their hands in the air. Us on stage. You feel what I'm saying? And we was in our infant stage then. You feel me? Then when we played for the One Music Fest, we rocked that joint. And One Music Fest now is one of the biggest platforms for live performances.
I'm well aware. I was looking at booking Black Alley on it 2 years ago, 2 years ago. I don't remember.
Y'all was on it?
No. I was talking to them about booking them, but it was too late in the game.
Right. Did you talk to Jason?
I don't remember the guy's name. Let me see.
Jason Carter is the one who created One Music Fest. He bounced that off of another festival he used to do called Soul Fusion. And we played on both of those. And people, and he wanted us to play on that because of the noise we was making. And he liked what we was doing. And we was glad he put us on that, because it exposed us to other people, and it showed us that people receive it well.
Jay Carter is who I was talking to.
Jay Carter.
Okay.
Jay for sure.
Okay, guys.
Jay Carter is real cool too. Man. Real cool.
Yeah, he was a real cool dude. But you just missed the window. It just, he had already booked the stages up, so we didn't get in on time. But yeah.
And I want to say this too real quick. I know we had the hour mark or whatever, but Woo and I are working on this on a I said this to you a long time ago. A documentary, right? Talking about like Go-Go in Atlanta, and some of the stories that we're getting from the guys that we're interviewing, like the people that kind of around in the beginning. Some of this stuff is gonna blow people's mind, man. We talked to Lord John Roberts, who was Janet Jackson drummer, and who else drummer?
He played for a lot of people. I think it was George Duke he played for. He played for he went on tour with Janet Jackson. It's so many people this guy played for all across the world, man.
I'm just gonna give out a little tidbit right quick. He was telling us a story that he was playing for Jill Scott at the time. And he was telling her some stuff about Go-Go, and she ended up being so interested that she ended up doing the song, the Go-Go
we know
song.
from that.
And it's because
Lil Johnson, he sparked that whole idea.
Right, because so to hear him talk about that on this documentary, it'll blow you away, and kind of like the stuff that he's been involved in with Go-Go, something like that. Because he was the drummer, and Wu was the Congo player when Chuck Brown was on the Monique show. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of that link or whatever. So to hear him talk about the stuff and hear the people. We also had people that we played with from Purple Ribbon All Star. These people were just on the Super Bowl last year, and then they coming in and talking about how Go-Go moved them and there. So be looking out for that documentary, y'all. Like support. Like I hope this your platform is getting bigger, Malachi, and I just want people to know support, because Malachi is gonna blow up. You know, we saw what happened to DJ Frank White. Like he was a go-go DJ on his Instagram, and he went to go-go radio. That got big. Then he went to a whole nother platform. Like he just need the support. But we,
Excuse me for 1 minute, fella. Take a look at the background, though.
Artists,
what did I say?
We just need the support, man. And it's funny because the song is out. It's $1. 2 shots is $1. What did I say? Is $1. 99 cents to be support it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to get other people's eyes looking in like, this is doing something. You know what I'm saying? Or should pay attention to this.
So okay. So real quick, I want to let people know where they can find it. So the song is called 2 Shots.
Yeah, 2 shots. It's in the background. You see how you got that in the background right there. That's album cover, and the song is called 2 Shots. It's on Rue's background, and the other one, that's the album cover. What did I say? With Ricky Angles and the XO band. But you can get it on everything, like you said down there, Google Play, Apple Music, Spotify. Please stream it on Tidal and
it's just real quick. It's XO band. Is it X period O or just XO?
X.O.
X.O. The song is called 2 Shots, and it's out on all platforms, so Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever.
Google Play.
Okay. All right. I put it up on the screen. So everybody that's watching, make sure you go to whatever your streaming or download service of choice is and get 2 Shots from XO. XO band. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Let me fix that real quick.
What did I say? And look out for the video for 2 Shots coming soon.
Okay, so what did I say is the name of the other one, and that one's up too?
Yeah, that one's up too on the platform.
Yeah, what did I say? The lighter colored one, the white with the red letters in his background.
Okay, cool.
What did I say? 2 Shots.
I just deleted the whole thing by accident trying to post it. Yeah, it's really hard. It's hard for people to see. Let me see something. Let me do this real quick. I'm gonna blow it up. I'm gonna blow you up real quick so people can see.
What did I say? 2 Shots.
Oh yeah, and on the 2 Shots,
go to
we got Lisette TT. She used to sing for our backyard.
Hey, how we forget that, Rick?
Yeah. We got Lisette TT on 2 Shots joint. She's singing.
Okay, dope. Yeah, I think she just moved out here, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. Because she was down here.
Yeah, I think she just moved out here, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
I want to say something about that too. When I brung Lisette in to do that song, you know how you have something in your head a certain way?
Yep.
She nailed that joint right off the break, man.
Yeah. She's a very talented. She's not only
her texture and everything, man. She crushed that joint.
That's
and she sprinkled a little bit on it and everything. I just let her go. I ain't even say much. I just let her go and do what she wanted to do. You know what I mean? She nailed it, man. It was great working with her.
That's what's up. Well, so everybody that's watching, make sure you hit up XO Band on all your platforms. Check out 2 Shots and what I say. And I need to get one quick thing in real quick from my homeboy Honey Blue, who blessed me with the shirt, the True Soldier shirt. I thought I was just getting a T-shirt, but come to find out it's all silky, like a Under Armour or something like that. I guess it's like a workout shirt. Little does he know I don't work out. I'm a lazy, fast slob. But anyway, I want to show my appreciation to him for sending me the shirts. Make sure you check him out at true-soldier.com. He's got ladies stuff there too. I saw bathing suits and everything on there earlier. Make sure you check out his stuff on Instagram. It's true_soldier_LLC. That's my man from Annapolis, Spa Road crew, Honey Blue. So make sure you support him. And thank you again for the shirts, man. And make sure that you check out the XO Band and support their releases. So how can people see the documentary? When is that going to come out, and where would they be able to support it?
We're not finished interviewing right now. We perform with so many of the Atlanta greats down here. We're trying to get a lot of them involved. So, it's a lot of them. I'm not gonna say no names or whatever, but we're trying to get these guys involved And of course it's scheduling. You know, it's a lot going on, especially with
absolutely.
He's involved with so much stuff, but he got a lot to say about go-go. Like whenever we talking about go-go, he got a lot of wonderful things to say.
And I got to talk about Killer Mike too, man.
Killer Mike.
When we performed with Killer Mike, he came to rehearsal, but he had the flu, and but he wanted to rehearse because he wanted the show to go with.
Right.
And he made sure he came. He hollered at us, gave us the elbow or whatever. He went on this other side of the room a little bit to keep kind of quarantine like. And he rehearsed, man, and we went to that show, man, and we did that show up, had a good time. He was real professional also.
When was this?
This was I think this was around 2007.
Okay.
2008, something around that time.
That's dope. And Ricky, I missed who you were talking about right before that. Who were you saying had a lot of good things to say about Go-Go?
No, I was saying Killer Mike. I was saying Killer Mike got a lot of good things to say about Go-Go. And I know you was putting your man on and everything, and I didn't get these for free or nothing like that. But I do want to shout out my man Rick in the back from Madness and Eddie Band, man. You know what I'm saying, for making sure. They always tell me the kids are wearing this now, man. Make sure you wear. So they always make sure I get the right thing or whatever. Shout out Madness Connect.
So you try to stay current. Try to stay current.
Yeah,
I don't see no kids wearing the Madness bucket hats though, man. I think you might be having still a little throwback with that.
Hey, I'm telling you, bucket hats is back, man. Bucket hats is back.
So I'm in LA, so I don't really know, but
bucket hats is back.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess you got to stick with the dad hats, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I can only wear certain kind of hats. Most hats look really stupid on me. So like these 5-panel baseball caps are the only ones I can wear without looking like an idiot. You know. So I'm limited. I'm limited in my my options. But listen, guys, thank you so much for coming through. Ricky, thank you for upgrading your Cricket Wireless so we can hear you today. I appreciate it. And everybody, again, make sure you you support everything that's going on. And so Off Script is still a band or no?
Yeah, they still play. They pretty much like us, man, with this COVID going on.
Right.
And then with how things are in Atlanta, you kind of pace yourself.
Right.
A lot of clubs can't fit what we have going on and the sound we want to bring and stuff. So you got to be real selective, man. These clubs, they want you to play out of 2 top speakers, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about the same, man. They're doing all right.
Maybe that's because this is what I was talking about with 32 last time, because we always argue every time we talk, but that's love. That's my man. So he was saying that you have to have a 3 to 4 person front line to be a go-go band. And I obviously strongly disagree with that sentiment. So my thing is can you do, and maybe this is a solution for the problem that you're having, which is produce the record without a band.
Of course.
And then use Ableton or something like that to replace, to play the tracks so that you can play with the, like for example, with Lil BJ, he doesn't even really play the folk congas anymore. He plays the pad, and it's already mixed, which solves a big problem in that when, like for example, when I had Mambo Sauce and we would go out of town or whatever, we would play in other places and we didn't have enough money to have our own engineer to bring with us all the time. So we would have like the house engineer. He doesn't know how to mix go-go congas or anything like that. So, but when BJ's playing out of the pad, it's already mixed the way it's supposed to mix. So that solves that problem right there. So, you know what I mean? Maybe you can use that limitation.
That's a great suggestion, man. But I like moving my hands right now. I'm not ready to let my hands, I like moving them. I like the texture, But
I'm just saying, in general, like, do you need to? I mean, I don't know what the makeup of the band is, but sometimes bands have 2-3 keyboard players, a guitar player, bass player. Like, I'm not trying to get rid of my own position, but a lot of that stuff you can run through a track now, and it sounds just like a real musician. You know what I mean? So can you replace some of that, and then that way you have a smaller band? Like that's what I was saying to Deuce. Like you could have Stomp Dog brings a pad with him when he plays, put him on the drums. He can run tracks and play samples.
Yeah.
You got, you know, if you want to bring the full congas out, that's cool, but you got a pad too. You can run tracks, play samples. I assume you know how to do that. You got to have a laptop running Ableton, whatever. You have a percussion, you know, or you already got the percussion player, so you got a keyboard player can run tracks and play keys and, you know, whatever, vocals if you need them to, and one vocalist. That's a 4-piece band. But with technology now, you can almost make that sound like a 10-piece band.
To be honest with that formula in Atlanta, we'll probably get more shows.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's
just the honest truth, especially in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because these clubs, man, they don't want to pay like they're supposed to pay. That's one. Two, they really don't have the sound system for what you're trying to produce.
Right.
Three, they don't have the stage size. They build the stage to fit like a 4-piece band.
Yep.
Yeah. And you oftentimes have to play on the floor.
Right.
So I do agree with you that the sound can be duplicated. I don't disagree with that. But the way that go-go is presented to the public, that's a shading.
That's where this little thing comes in called creativity. You know what I'm saying? And so that to me, that's the mentality that I try to push back against all the time. Go-go isn't done like that, so we can't do it like this. Well, then figure out another way to do it so that you can get accomplished what you're trying to get accomplished. You know what I'm saying?
And how do you maintain your core following with that concept too? Because a lot of people, I've experienced it. People are quick to say, "Man, ain't no real go-go band. They ain't got this."
Yeah,
ain't no, we dealt with that. You know what I mean?
Guess what? Guess how many people said that about Mambo Stars? Guess how much I care?
You sold records.
Zero. Right. Absolutely zero. Mambo Sauce went on a cross-country tour all around the whole United States. It was after I was gone, but it was already being worked on before I left. I do not care about that. Like it to me, just as you just said earlier, when you hear Jill Scott, when you hear A. Marie, when you hear Beyonce, one thing, or that's A. Marie, but if you hear Beyonce Crazy in Love, the very first thing anybody from home says is that's go-go. There's no lead rapper, there's no crowd interaction, there's no cowbell, there's no 10-piece band, there's none of those things. The only thing there is percussion.
You know what's weird about that?
What's that?
What's weird about that is it seems like we can accept somebody else doing it that way, but we can't accept ourselves doing it that way.
Absolutely.
We're talking about the fans, the crowd, not even the musicians, just the crowd. Like people who listen to go-go, they hear A. Marie do it that way, right? But then if we try to do it that way, there ain't no real go-go band. You know what I mean?
This is what go-go does. A. Marie puts out one thing, smash hit, and then go-go bands cover it.
But if you do the same thing in reverse, you're not a real go-go band.
Exactly.
Isn't that weird? That's kind of weird, right?
It's backwards, and that's why I don't ascribe to that theory. Now, listen, if you're a person that believes that there are certain people, and I respect their opinion, that feel like go-go is our special thing, it should remain where it is, and we shouldn't share it with the outside world. I respect that. I don't agree with that opinion in any way, shape, or form. I respect it, though, because at least that's something you're standing on a principle, and I get that. But if you say, this is what we do. We say we want go-go to be national. Okay, well, and then we say, well, this 32 said this last week. Well, the record labels ain't trying to pay for a 10-piece band. Well, don't have a 10-piece band then. And don't sign with a record label. And, you know, there's millions of people, artists doing all kinds of things right now without a 10-piece band. And the other thing is,
PJ Morton is a good example. I think he signed with a big label now, but I think PJ Morton was independent for years, and he was doing
well. He has the same agent as Eric Roberson, who was on this show about a month two ago, and Eric Roberson's has an amazing live music career and recorded career as well, and he's not signed to a label either. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, there's different levels of success, and yeah, most of your major, huge artists are signed to major labels, but it doesn't mean you can't have a career and make a living without being signed to a major label. It's just
that's what it boils down to after a while, right? Making a living, making sure you know. We performed with PJ Morton too twice.
Oh yeah,
he crushed it both times.
Yeah, he's
dope. And it's funny that you say Eric Roberson because I saw him play in Atlanta, and he had a go-go set.
Yeah,
I saw him playing. He had a go-go set. He's from DC?
Yeah, he's from home.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
He's from home. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I know he's from home. Yeah, he's a DC artist. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a million ways to skin a cat, and we box ourselves in, and we say that it has to be this way and it has to be that way. And this was the sort of the origin story of Mambo Sauce. When Northeast Groove was turned into Solo. Solo was my name. I created that name. Me and Dig Dog. And I came up with the name. I can't because it was going to be the name of my management.
Y'all did the one hop, 2 time thing, right?
Yeah, I hated that joint. Oh, I hated it.
But the pocket was mean on that joint. For me, it was the pocket.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's me playing on that. But I hated the fact that we were going to do that song, but once we did it, I loved it. Yeah, no, the pocket was smoke. That's smoke.
Some of us live on was your acronym or something, right?
Yeah, I didn't come. So Hug came up with the acronym part, which is Sounds of Us Living On. I came up with the name Solo because it was going to be the name of my management company, which I didn't even end up starting, and I just gave it to the band when we were looking for a new name when Northeast Groove was turned into a grown and sexy band, basically. But Dig Dug was one of the managers, and he's one of my closest friends to this day. But we used to argue tooth and nail about. I was like, man, I don't want to play in a band that just plays all cover songs. It's just stupid to me. And he's like, this is go-go. This is what you got to play. People want to hear. This is go-go. And I was like, dude, you are Dig Dug. Fucking Dig Dug. Go-go is whatever you say it is.
Hey, man, you talking the fight I have down here. Like, it's a lot of people who was afraid of what I was doing. Like, they were, I'll say, concerned. Hey, Woo, man, you're giving them too much, man. You're going too hard. You need to play some jazz. I was like, no, I don't need to play jazz, man. We play what we play. Who like it, like it. Who don't. Focus on the people that like it and keep it moving.
Yeah, absolutely.
People used to always try to get me to play more jazz and play more radio songs. And I used to be like, man, we're not going to make our band be known to play covers back to back like that. We got to put more originals in between that. And that's been my drive ever since.
Right. Absolutely. Well, the frustration for me with Solo was that you had people in that band that went on to, me and Keyboard Chris and Kyrie all were in that band, all at Mambo Sauce, all co-writers of Welcome to DC Miracles and almost every song on that album. You had Maestro, who wrote Maestro and Hug, but who wrote songs for Keisha Cole, Jennifer Lopez. I can't even remember who else, a whole bunch of people. You had, Keyboard Chris is did the T.I. and Ludacris joint together. Grammy, he's a Grammy nominated producer. 88 was in the joint at first. Yeah, all of those people in the same band, and you want to play all cover songs.
Right. Wow.
Dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I understand most go-go bands don't have songwriters in the band. Playing an instrument and being able to write a song are two different things. They're not the same skill set. Some people have it. Very few people do. Whitney Houston never wrote a song in her life. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean she's not one of the most talented artists to ever live.
Right.
But to have a band stacked with that level of songwriter caliber, granted, some of those songs hadn't been written yet, but it was still the same people.
Yeah.
And say our move is we're just going to play all cover songs to, and eat some chicken wings at the grown and sexy buffet. Like, I'm not really with that. That's what made me come out here. And then, first I went to Vegas and worked at a radio station, and I came out to LA. And then when Dig Dug called me saying, hey, Rock Nation is trying to get Northeast Groovers to do something, and we were supposed to submit something, and somebody didn't submit whatever they were supposed to submit on time, and we lost our shot. And now I saw what you were talking about the whole time. That's what made me come home and start Marble Sauce, basically. So, yeah.
Hey, let me say two things right before we go. First of all, for all of those that's interested in XO Band, right now we do have Kyrie playing bass for XO Band. We have Maestro playing keyboards. We've had keyboard Chris playing last show with us, so he's here with us. So some of your favorites are performing.
Yeah, they were playing on the last show. You can see the video
right now.
Where can you see the video? What's
on
YouTube?
XO Band YouTube channel.
So what is it? YouTube.com/XO Band?
It's x.o.
XOBand.com. Yeah, we got
Now the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is XO Band. X.O Band.
Right, but if you go to the website, does it have links to the YouTube and Instagram and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's on the video link.
Okay.
And I'm about to get
I'm gonna put the
website redesigned. It's dated, but you can still navigate. You go to the video section and you'll get to click on some of the videos that's there, which will ultimately lead you to everything we have.
Yeah.
Right. So this is an important thing too. That I'm glad that you guys have a website, because this is something that a lot of bands don't have. And so this is allowing you to be on this show right now and talk to the people that are on this show and say, go to xoband.com and you can dig down the rabbit hole to find all of these places where you can
absolutely right.
Our music, buy our music, watch our videos, etc.
Yeah, it's all there. It's a bit dated though. I'm about to have it updated in a few weeks, but you can still navigate and get to where you need to go.
Yeah, and look, and I gotta say this one last thing before we go, because it tripped me out. You told Chiefy that your band opened up for the Huck-A-Bucks in Annapolis, right? And a guy came to you and asked you to play with the Huck-A-Bucks. It tripped me out when you say that. Like, that was me that asked you to play. It tripped me out. Like all these years, you know what I'm saying, that I had that conversation with you. But one of the reasons that we wanted you, you know, they had there was another, like a white drummer and a white Congo player for another
Conspiracy, Jesse and Tebow.
Yeah. And we were saying, hey man, we need some flavor, you know what I'm saying, with the Hucklebucks, you know, we got some, you know, we were supposed to be the R&B, the new edition, you know what I'm saying? I said, we need, you know, the other guy in there. So yeah, it's funny that you said it. I just wanted to let you know that was me that came and talked to you about leaving your band, and you didn't do it. Bad.
That doesn't surprise me, but yeah, that's my story that I tell about the difference of band loyalty back in the day versus now, because y'all were red ass hot on fire. Now, granted, Occupation, the band that I was in, which is the band that Keyboard Chris came from, and generally that took rapper's spot in Northeast Groovers, and also Mike Arnold that plays keys for Still Familiar right now. All of us came from that band. And also Lime Green from Lime Green and DB, both from Project 360, and also Teo that used to sing for Drew Hill, that now sings for Still Familiar. He was in that band at one time as well. But we were the hot shit in Annapolis, and you know, I didn't realize it at the time, but we were pulling like as many people in Annapolis on a weekly basis as bands were pulling in DC. But I didn't really know it at the time. But still, obviously, I knew that Huck-A-Bucks was on a whole nother level from where we were at the time, but I still said no because I was loyal to my band. I was loyal to the guys that I came up with, and that's something that just doesn't really exist anymore because it wasn't really about money back then. It was about the love. You know what I mean? And now it's just about money.
Good stuff.
That's funny. Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much, man. I appreciate it. Good to catch up with you. Let's stay in contact. Me and Ricky, as always. Woo, you got my info now, so hit me up anytime. Love to hear you.
Man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, of course. It's great. It's been awesome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Tomorrow, I got Rasan Fuller, who is manager for Backyard. So,
hold on, too. Yeah, don't leave your show without telling Rasan Fuller to tell you the studio and Ricky Angle's house story. Tell him to tell you the studio. Say you. Hey, Ricky told me to say say something about the studio and Ricky Engel's house. Like I can't believe Rasan gonna be on here. But yeah, supermodel Rasan. Yeah.
Supermodel Rasan. Yep. No, I was just giving him shit. You know, me and him used to work together at PGC, and I was just giving him some shit yesterday because he sent me these janky low res photographs to use for his flyer. I'm like, bro, you're supposed to be a supermodel and you're sending me these fucking 72 DPI photographs. Get the hell out of here. No, I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to cuss. I think, did I make it through the whole thing without cussing? Sorry.
Yes, you did.
Almost.
All the way to the end. Sorry, my bad. I forgot.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it.
No, all good. All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
All right, gotta be easy, man.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All
right, thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Rasan, the manager of Backyard Band. And do me a favor, please click subscribe and click the little bell icon below. And what that will allow you, when you click the bell icon, that'll send you a reminder when an episode comes up. Of course, you can always just check gogotix.co for upcoming schedule. We try to stay as ahead of it as possible. But sometimes, we're booking stuff at the last minute, whatever, stuff like that. But and I also want to give another shout out to my boy Honey Blue, Spa Road Crew, Annapolis, 4th Ward. Thank you for the shirts, man. Appreciate it. True Soldier. This is one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever worn. I thought it was just a regular t-shirt, but it's like Under Armour, silky. Maybe my wife will want to rub on me or something. Now I got this silky shirt on. So check him out at true-soldier.com. They got women's clothes over there too. A lot of dope stuff. So make sure you check them out and support them, and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram at GOGOTIX. And thank you